Brace yourself for an epic podcast. Listen to our AI-generated podcast review of Chapter 7, Witch Trinity, The Calling, ideal for those who crave the mystical. A new chapter of the podcast will be available weekly, so subscribe or click the notification bell to not miss out. And please share the link with others. Enjoy the podcast.
All right, so we're diving into David Jones's Witch Trinity, The Calling, specifically Chapter 7. You wanted to unpack this one, right?
Oh, absolutely. Chapter 7. That's where things really start to heat up.
Yeah, it throws you right into the action. This scene in the cafe, I love how Jones sets this up.
It's so vivid.
Right, like you can practically smell the coffee and hear the clatter of plates. It's such a normal, everyday setting.
Exactly. You're lulled into this false sense of security.
And then, bam, static electricity explodes when those three friends touch that ancient book.
Such a clever way to introduce the magic. It's like Jones is saying, look, the extraordinary could be hiding anywhere, even in your local coffee shop.
Right. Makes you wonder what else we might be missing in our own lives.
It really does.
So, okay, let's meet these friends. Delf, Shorn, and Serena the Witch Trinity, though they don't know it yet.
Not at the beginning of the story.
Right. They're powerful witches, but totally clueless about their true nature.
What I find fascinating is how Jones hints at their powers through their personalities. You know, the little quirks and the internal struggles they each face. Like Serena, for instance. She's a journalist, engaged to be married, leads a completely ordinary life. The last person you'd expect to be a witch.
Right. It's this total juxtaposition. You're a journalist, but also you're descended from this long line of powerful witches. Talk about an identity crisis.
Oh, absolutely. And that internal conflict is really at the heart of her journey.
On a collision course with destiny, but you wanted to understand why Chapter 7 is so crucial. Why did this one stand out?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. It's not just about Serena discovering her powers. It's about the choices she's forced to make, the sacrifices that come with wielding that kind of magic, and the implications for the entire world. Jones takes this simple premise. Three friends stumble upon a magical book, and he uses it to explore some really profound themes about power, responsibility, the interconnectedness of all things.
So Chapter 7 throws us a bit of a curveball, right? Just touching the grimoire, it's not enough to fully awaken Serena's powers.
Right. It's more like a kind of jolt to the system.
A magical jumpstart.
Exactly. It triggers this shared memory for the Trinity, like a glimpse into the past when the Witch Trinity first came together.
And this isn't just some, nostalgic flashback. It feels important.
It is. It speaks to the cyclical nature of their powers, how the past is always present. And it really underscores the urgency of their situation, because even with her powers still dormant, Serena is still a target.
Which brings us to portation. One of the things I find so cool about Jones's world building.
It's a fantastic concept, isn't it?
It's like teleporting, but with a catch.
It's more than just physical travel. It's like your essence. Your emotions are stretched across vast distances. Imagine the toll that would take.
And without Serena, the grounding force of the Trinity, it's even harder.
Exactly. They're missing that crucial piece of their magical engine. And without it maintaining balance, it becomes this constant battle against these chaotic forces.
Which is where Gaia comes in, right? Mother Earth, the lifeblood of all magic in this world.
And not just a symbolic figure. She's an active force. She needs the Witch Trinity to maintain balance, to ensure that life and death, creation and destruction are kept in check.
Yeah, no pressure on our heroines then. So they have to restore this balance, protect Serena from whatever dark forces are after her. But Jones also takes the time to weave in this really interesting history of witchcraft.
He does. It's subtle, but it's there.
Like, there was a time when witches weren't feared or persecuted, but revered advisors to leaders, keepers of wisdom, guardians of this delicate balance.
Right. It's a stark contrast to how witches are often portrayed.
Yeah.
Especially, in the context of the witch trials and everything.
Yeah, it makes you think about how narratives are shaped. Who benefits from keeping certain stories alive, and who benefits from silencing those with power?
Exactly, and that's what makes the threat against Serena even more unsettling.
Because it's not just about some personal vendetta.
Right? Whoever's targeting her understands her importance. They know that her power is the key to unlocking the full potential of the Witch Trinity. And if they can control her, they can control magic itself.
And that's where the suspense really kicks in. You're left wondering, who is this? What do they want? And how far are they willing to go? And at the end of the chapter, we see Delf and Shorn making this incredibly risky decision to try and protect Serena. And this is where Simon, Serena's fiancé, gets pulled into this world of magic. They decide to merge with him, with Simon. Can you imagine?
Talk about a life-changing engagement party, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
1 minute you're planning a wedding, the next you're being pulled into this hidden world of magic and danger.
It's a brilliant move by Jones, though. It really throws you into Simon's shoes.
You're along for the ride.
Exactly. And Jones does a fantastic job of portraying that internal struggle. Imagine having your entire reality shattered. Like your fiancé is a witch, your friends are merging their essences with you. It's a lot to process.
It really makes you question everything you thought you knew. And the stakes are incredibly high.
Life as Simon knew it is over.
And then there's the ritual itself. The way Jones describes it, it's intense.
Candles, salt pentagon, the whole 9 yards. They're not messing around.
And they invoke some pretty heavy hitters, right? Lagos, Talos, Thanos. What's the significance of those names? I mean, it's got to be more than just spooky chanting.
Oh, absolutely. Each name represents a different aspect of this binding spell. Lagos represents the risk. They're essentially binding Simon's soul to theirs. It's a huge gamble.
And Talos?
Talos embodies the shadows, the unknown depths of magic that they're navigating.
Yeah.
And then there's Thanos.
Thanos, like the guardian of hope.
Exactly. Even in the darkest of times, there's always that flicker of light. And that's what Delf and Shorn are clinging to. The hope that Simon can help them save Serena and restore balance to the world. Because remember, it's not just about rescuing Serena.
It's about the fate of everything.
Right. Without Serena, Delf, and Shorn, they can barely control their powers. Jones paints a pretty bleak picture of what could happen. A world completely out of whack, either consumed by unchecked growth or decay.
Yeah. Neither of those sound particularly appealing.
Not at all. It shows how important balance is. Too much of anything, even something good, can be destructive.
It's a delicate dance.
Right.
And the witch Trinity, they're the ones who have to keep everything in sync. Which brings us back to that final scene.
So many questions.
Jones is a master at leaving you wanting more.
He is. And that's what makes Witch Trinity so captivating. It's not just the magic and the mystery. It's the questions that linger long after you finish the book.
The questions about power and responsibility, about choice and sacrifice, and whether sometimes it's better to stay blissfully ignorant or to face the unknown head on. It's been a pleasure taking this deep dive with you. Until next time.